What's up, guys? So I have some baby chicks in my brooder right now, and it's actually vaccination day for them. I wait until they're about 2 weeks old to vaccinate. They kind of like get out of that fragile stage, and I'll do this one more time right before they start laying. So it's a 2-series shot that you'll give them. It's for MS and SG, and then there's one for Merrick's as well. So I'll show you guys how I vaccinate right now. So I buy my vaccines from Jeffers. It's just a livestock place that sells dead vaccines. You need a syringe, and this one is for the mycoplasma. It's a bacteria that's usually found in soil or wild birds, but it's very prevalent in my area, so I like to vaccinate for my birds against it. You'll also need, your drawing needle. You'll need an 18 gauge. And then you'll need a 22 gauge. And the 22 is what you inject with, and the 18 is what you pull from. So first things first, you're gonna put your 18 gauge needle. Tell me I brought down 18. Nope, I brought down two 22s. So you normally want an 18 gauge needle to draw it with, just because 22 is so thin, it's gonna take a while for this syringe to actually fill up. But once it does, this holds 6 mLs, and then for baby birds, I'll give them a half an ml or a half a cc per bird. And what you're going to do is pinch the back of their neck and then inject. It's a subcutaneous shot, so it's right below the skin and it won't hurt them. And so when you're drawing this in the syringe, you're going to draw it up cold, and then you're going to let the syringe warm up to room temperature, and then put this right back in, because this is, I think, 1,000 doses, so unless you have a massive flock, you're going to get a lot of uses out of this. So I'm going to do my best to try and videotape this, and get it in the screen, just because I have to actually hold the bird and inject, since there's no one here but me. So what you're going to do is just grab your chick. You're going to pinch the back of his neck, and there should be a lot of extra skin. Usually you can do this between your legs. I might actually have to. So pinch the back of the neck, and just go in about, just until the needle pops in, like that, and watch for half a cc. And that's it. So you do want to make sure that it actually did go in, since it's so superficial to the skin. It should be just barely under, it should be, let me see if I can actually see it. You can actually see it's like a milky appearance under the skin, and you can tell that all of it was injected and that this guy's ready to go. So here's a better, a clear picture of it. You can see all the white is underneath the skin, and it'll just absorb into the body. And then in 2 to 3 months, before their laying age, you'll give them one more injection. And make sure obviously you read the directions on the vaccine, because certain ones have to be warm, certain ones have to be cold during injection. You can't inject before 42 days, or you can't inject after a certain time. So there's definitely a time sensitive period, and a temperature sensitive issue that you have to consider when vaccinating birds. And so it's not as hard as people make it sound to be. And if you don't feel comfortable with injecting the bird yourself, I'm sure you can take it to your local vet. I don't see it being that expensive, especially because you're giving them the vaccine, and if you have your own needle, or all that they would be doing is really injecting for you. So if you have a small flock, that could definitely be an option. But other than that, vaccinating is fairly straightforward and pretty easy to learn how to do, and you get comfortable with it throughout the course of each season. And the vaccine I bought was it's a dead vaccine, and so it cannot cause MS and SG from injection. It's not a live vaccine. It's just to train the immune system of the bird to recognize that bacteria in case it comes into contact with it over the course of a season, or if you bring in new birds and they might have it, then your birds won't get as sick, or elicit such an immune response that they can die from these bacterial diseases. And so it won't cause MSSG. It will cause a decrease in laying if you do inject but after they're laying. That's why the manufacturers always tell you to inject before laying age, just so that you don't have to worry about a drop in egg production. So now I'm just going to put this little guy back. I have about 10 more to do, so not too many. I did a lot last week. It's actually really messy in here, but I have this little brooder set up just for a couple colors of Caternix. And I actually put some Marin chicks in with the buttons. They have to be taken out because all my other brooders are currently full, and I hatched way too many birds this month. And I'm actually going to go collect eggs because I did not do it this morning. I probably do it 2 to 3 times a day just because I feel like hens lay all different times, and I have a lot of broody hens, and if they sit on them even for like a day or two, I can't sell the hatching eggs because then they start to develop, and they'll die if I ship them off to another state. Last night we actually had one of our first animal attacks in a long time, and I feel like they always take the best birds. They chewed out, it could be rats or a fish or cat. I'm not sure what the animal was, but they chewed out around where I closed the the door in for the night for the birds. And I opened the birds up in the morning, and my millifluars are half eaten. And if you don't know what those are, they're just little bantam birds, but they were like my favorite birds. And so it kind of sucks, definitely. But we made a piece of plywood and reinforced it, so we don't have to deal with that again. But it's kind of the shitty part of raising animals. This is actually where the animal dug through last night, or chewed through last night. It was a door like this on the other side, but I put plywood in. I just closed them down, but they chewed massive holes on either side, and they just got right in. And you can probably see some feathers and stuff from the attack last night. They must have just dragged them right out, but I'm gonna fix it and hatch more eggs to see if I can rebuild that flock up. But this coop is really just a mix. Yeah, actually, this is better. You can see all the porcelain feathers from yesterday. But this coop is kind of just a mix of olive eggers and some types of project marins that I'm working on. So the mix of eggs usually, I'll bring them outside so you can see. And we have the goat pen. We have these birds that always get over the fence, and because they love to lay in here. They'll either lay underneath here, so it's like an Easter egg hunt every day. Let's see, none under there today. They usually lay in these corners. They have all the nesting boxes in the world, and they don't use them. So we'll go on the other side to see what there is. In this coop, they love to lay in the feed bin, which I just leave open now because otherwise they'll yell at me if it's not. And this pen is usually my my Marin's pen. I have my Cayugas in here right now, but they'll definitely need to be separated because they get really rapey this time of the year. And so it's dangerous if ducks mate with hens like chickens, and they can actually kill them. So I'll definitely separate those and put them in their own pen. But actually I think there's more eggs in here. The ducks are notorious for only laying on the floor. Let's see. I think this is a duck egg. Yep. And then in the quails, there's some. Not too many. I collected quail eggs this morning. We'll see if there's any. Here, excuse me. Oh yeah. There's a couple Celadon, which just are blue layers. So this is the final collection for today. Some really pretty Marin eggs in here today. A few of them are new layers. I wish they stayed this dark over the course of the season. And this is what I mean by rapey. They keep trying to mate with this hen over here, and they can definitely do some damage. So I guess I'll be separating them today. It's the first time I actually saw that. So I just got vaccinating all the birds. Had to change my shirt because it got disgusting. In the last like month or two, I've been like transitioning this entire farm or whatever property we have for a cut flower farm for next year. And so just in case I don't get accepted to, you know, any of the medical schools I applied to, which isn't uncommon these days given the number of applicants, I'd figured that, you know, I'd make some money during this year. And so I planted like 5,000 bulbs, the majority of them tulips. We built a greenhouse, and right now I'm just kind of prepping the soil for next year. So I'm actually just putting cardboard down. This is the little greenhouse we have. You know, I put some marigold inside, but this will all be for dahlias right here next year. I started laying down cardboard already, and I added all chicken compost that's been like, you know, decaying and getting ready for about, you know, 6-7 months now. So that's about 4 inches deep. I'm gonna cover this with the cardboard so the weeds stay, you know, down over the course of the winter. And I'll take you down to the other end of the property. You can see all the coops all the way down there, but along this hillside we cleared it out, and that's where I planted the majority of my bulbs. So I'll finish off down there. I dug this out. You probably guys don't remember, but it was all hill. I kind of leveled it off a little and just gave me a little strip of, you know, an extra bed. So I used all these rocks that I found when I was digging, but I planted I want to say 400 tulips, and I mixed in daffodils just so the deer would kind of leave them alone for the winter while the ground hardened. And I also put this mesh just so nothing would dig, and then I'll take it up and make a box so nothing eats them in the spring. But right over here we cleared this whole hill out. This was where all the sunflowers were last year. And I expanded this. I took out all the weeds. And right where you see all the stakes, they are all tulip beds planted. And so I mixed that, maybe like 400-500 daffodils too, and some allium bulbs. And so this will all be flowers next year. I'm going to do, once all of these bulbs come up, I'm going to pick them like cutting flowers and start my dahlias. And I have lots of tubers and bulbs coming in the winter so that I can plant in the spring. So that's what I've been up to lately.